Hello, this is Cousin from IngZone with you again. As you have already noticed, today we're going to have a different lesson. I'm not going to be on the screen, I'm going to be behind the scenes today. So today's lesson is going to be about listening, IELTS listening, how to improve your IELTS listening at home on your own. So we're going to start doing a listening test, Cambridge IELTS 13, test 1. As always, I decided to start the lesson with an idiom, and that idiom will be connected to listening and to one of the parts of our body. So these are idioms that are related to ears, body part idioms, ears. So we've got many, let's say, idioms that are connected with ears. So you can say all ears if you want to say that you're carefully listening to someone. So if you want to say that I'm listening to you very carefully, every detail that you're saying, you can say I'm all ears. I am all ears. All right. So if you want to say that you are carefully listening to someone, you say I am all ears. And if you want to say listen to me, please, you say lend an ear. Lend an ear. So there are some other idioms that are close to our language, which is Uzbek. The walls have ears. Yeah, we also say that in Uzbek. The walls have ears, so be careful. Don't say too many things. They might hear also. So, and there are so many other idioms, as you can see. If you want to learn about them, you can pause the movie and learn them all, but they're also helpful. Basically, in my life, I use I'm all ears many times because I work with students, and most of the time students ask me, teacher, I have a question, and then I say, great, I'm all ears. I'm listening to your questions carefully. All right, so before we start the lesson, I want you to lend an ear to me carefully, and please watch all the videos that I'm going to upload in the later case, and at the same time, please don't forget to watch this video until the end. If you like our videos, don't forget to subscribe and click the like button, so you will be always notified with our latest news. Alright, so we're going to move on to the first test of IELTS, Cambridge IELTS 13. Here it is. As you can see, let's imagine you are in the listening test. Every time when you're doing a listening test at home, what I advise you to do is whenever you sit in front of the camera, computer, or whenever you take a piece of paper or the book that you're going to do, you have to make sure that there aren't and there is no one around you who's going to disturb you. So you make sure that you are sitting in a room where there is no one and nothing can disturb you, because you have to make sure this, because in the later case you get used to this, because in the real IELTS test, you have to make sure that in the real IELTS test everything is going to be silent and no one is going to disturb you. Alright, so there are some things that I want to teach you and tell you before we start paying attention to the test. There are some ways of improving IELTS listening, but it's not directly from practicing, because as I always say, if you want to improve your listening or other skills, it's not by making a lot of practice. It's not by doing a lot of practice, I'm sorry. It's by practice, by doing that skill a lot. It's like you have to listen a lot in order to improve your listening skills. Why do I say like that? Imagine you've got a car, and would you practice driving a car without learning how to drive it, without watching someone how to drive it, or without having an instructor next to you? So you would not drive a car without learning how to drive it. So the same thing, you imagine you have the practice test. Would you practice without knowing how to do it? No. So here I am, your instructor, who's going to help you with your IELTS skills. I will do my best in order to improve your English language skills, and I will do all the possible which is going to help you in the future. So let's go to the test. Enough with jargon. All right, test one, IELTS Cambridge IELTS 13. So you've got the paper on your hand, and what you need to do first, in IELTS 2020, you're not going to have example questions. You are going to have example questions, but you're not going to listen to that example twice as we used to do in the previous IELTS tests. I'm sorry, I'm a little bit disturbed. I'm advising you not to be disturbed, but I'm a little bit disturbed by my kids. Alright, so don't pay attention to what I'm saying exactly. Pay attention to what I am advising you. Alright, so you got this section 1. So what you need to do here is you're going to study what kind of question you have. You need to exactly identify how many words and numbers you're supposed to write. So you're supposed to write one word and a number. So you're allowed to write and or. What does it mean? If you have and or in your instruction, it means you can write either one word or a number. But if you have only or, so you have to be careful with that. If you have without and, if you have only or, it means you can write only one word or only one number. You can't write both of them in your answer. So in this case, we are allowed to write one word and a number. So we understand the instruction. It's very crucial to understand the instruction before you start doing your IELTS listening test. So before you start doing it, you have paid attention to these two things. Next thing, you want to identify what you're going to listen, because if you know exactly what you're going to listen in your listening, it's better for you to imagine, because imagine you want to participate in that very situation. So this lesson is basically about cookery class, and what you need to do here is pay attention to the questions, in what order they are coming. The questions are coming in horizontal order, not in vertical. Sometimes the questions might come in vertical order, so it is very important for you to understand in which order the questions are coming and what your question is. So we've got a table where we need to fill in some information, which in many cases, in most of my students, they feel like working with tables is much more easier than other types of questions. But again, it's different for different people, so you need to learn all the types of questions, and you need to also learn how to approach every single type of question. We've got an example cookery class. We've got 3 different types of classes that we're going to listen today, and the first one is already given. It's the food studio. Now we have to analyze the questions 1 to 10. If you have enough time, only analyze 1 to 10, and then imagine you have spare time where you don't really need to go to the next section. Section 2 is you have to go to section 2 after you finish section 1, because if you go directly to section 2 without doing section 1, you might forget what your situation was and what kind of questions you have. So it's better for you, and what I advise you is to better work only with these 10 questions. So first you need to finish section 1, because section 1, IELTS section test section 1 is the beginning of everything. You go to IELTS and you get the listening test first, and if you fail the first section, then you might have a failure of the whole test, because your mood goes down. But so in order to make it a success, make it something like the best what you could do, it's better to start the test with a very successful start. So you need to pay attention to the question 1. Focus how to. So you're paying attention how to. So this cookery class focuses on how to something. And so we've got the keyword cook because there is something and cook. How to something and cook. So that we are underlining these words. Question number 2, other information. There are some additional information. So you can read that small classes is going to be given first, and then also offers. It could be some kind of a small, small. We already have it. Big classes, individual, one-to-one, whatever. So you have to imagine what kind of classes you might also have, because if you have some options in your head, they are going to be helpful. As soon as you hear that option that you are keeping in your brain, you are going to put it down, and that's going to be easier for you to win the case. All right, number 3, clients who return get a discount. So I think this is here. I feel like we need a number. So I feel you guys also feel the same. So we need a number, like percent discount, or exactly we need, I guess we need numbers here. Well, it's not always what you guess is going to be correct, but you have to always be ready to different types of answers. So number 2, cookery class is Bones Cookery School. They focus on food that is. Okay, so we need to be ready with the food that is. The other information is include recipes to strengthen your. Okay, recipes to strengthen. Okay, they have a free. They have something free. Have a free every Thursday. Okay. All right. That's number 7. We are looking at the something center, so we are going to write down the name of the center. Mainly some kind of food. All right, mainly some kind of food located near the. So it's located near a special course in skills with a. So special course with something. All right, so we have underlined the keywords that we're going to probably need in our listening test. Now we're going to start the test. All right.
Well, they're open to everyone, but tourists are always welcome. Okay, let me give you some details of what's available. There are several classes. One very popular one is at the food studio.
Okay, it's already given.
The first cooking class is at the food studio. So studio has been written in the space. Now we shall begin. You should answer the questions as you listen, because you will not hear the recording a second time. Listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 6.
Hello, Tourist Information Centre. Mike speaking. How can I help you?
Oh, hi. I wanted to find out about cookery classes. I believe there are some one-day classes for tourists.
Well, they're open to everyone, but tourists are always welcome. Okay, let me give you some details of what's available. There are several classes. One very popular one is at the food studio.
Okay.
They focus on seasonal products, and as well as teaching you how to cook them, they also show you how to choose them.
Right, that sounds good. How big are the classes?
I'm not sure exactly, but they'll be quite small.
And could I get a private lesson there?
I think so. Let me check. Yes, they do offer those. Though, in fact, most of the people who attend the classes find it's a nice way of getting to know one another.
I suppose it must be, yes.
And this company has a special deal for clients where they offer a discount of 20% if you return for a further class.
Okay, but you said there were several classes.
That's right. Another one you might be interested in is Bond's Cookery School. They're quite new. They just opened 6 months ago, but I've heard good things about them. They concentrate on teaching you to prepare healthy food, and they have quite a lot of specialist staff.
So, is that food for people on a diet and things like that? I don't know if I'd be interested in that.
Well, I don't think they particularly focus on low-calorie diets or weight loss. It's more to do with recipes that look at specific needs, like including ingredients that will help build up your bones and make them stronger, that sort of thing.
I see. Well, I might be interested. I'm not sure. Do they have a website I could check?
Yes, just key in the name of the school. It'll come up. And if you want to know more about them, every Thursday evening they have a lecture at the school. It's free, and you don't need to book or anything. Just turn up at 7:30. And that might give you an idea of whether you want to go to an actual class.
Before you hear the rest of the conversation, you have some time to look at questions 7 to 10.
All right, so as you can see, we've done this first part of section 1. Basically, in the real test, you don't really need to spell very much correctly when you're doing the test. When you are transferring your answers to the answer sheet, there you'll have to be...
Now listen and answer questions 7 to 10.
All right, let's listen to the questions 7 to 10.
OK, there's one more place you might be interested in. That's got a rather strange name. It's called the Aretsa Centre. That's spelled A-R-R-E-T-S-A.
OK.
They've got a very good reputation. They do a bit of meat and fish cookery, but they mostly specialise in vegetarian dishes.
Right. That's certainly an area I'd like to learn more about. I've got lots of friends who don't eat meat. In fact, I think I might have seen that school today. Is it just by the market?
That's right. So they don't have any problem getting their ingredients. They're right next door. And they also offer a special 2-hour course in how to use a knife. They cover all the different skills, buying them, sharpening, chopping techniques. It gets booked up quickly, though, so you'd need to check it was available.
Right. Well, thank you very much. I'll go and check that out.
That is the end of section 1. You now have half a minute to check your answers.
Okay, thank you, dear. All right, so as I have already mentioned, while you are doing the test, you don't really need to pay exactly how well you are spelling the word, because you are not a native speaker. Even a native speaker, they always have a spelling. Not all of them, but most of them have a spelling problem. I can assure you with this because this nowadays technology has improved so much that we don't really need to even remember how to spell the word. So you don't really need to be concerned on your spelling while you are doing the test. But when you're transferring your answers to the answer sheet, it's very important. So don't make even a small mistake with even one letter in your word. You need to make exactly correct spelling in order to get the correct answer. So we've got all the answers over here. This is the section 1 of test 1. Now we're going to shift to the section 2 of test 1.